Today, I will be drawing a character whose outfit was chosen by my Instagram followers. I took a video of myself doing some poses so I could use as reference, but I ended up using pictures from Pinterest because I didn't really have an idea of what I wanted. When you have a really clear idea of what you want to draw, it's easier to pose yourself, but if not, it's better to take already existing pictures. Right now, I'm just sketching with a burnt red color. I find it easier this way because it's less harsher than black, and I can see, I don't know, it's less straining for my eyes. And I like to sketch the clothes with a dark blue color so I can differentiate between the body and the garments, so I can tell what I need to erase or leave there. And then I just change the layers so it is the same color as the body. It's 2 layers for sketch. I lay down the base colors starting from the skin, and on top of that I make a folder that's clipped to the skin layer. This will contain all the base colors of the clothing and the hair and whatever's on top. In order to do this, you need to set your sketch layer as reference. So when you use the bucket tool or the ice cream cone tool, you can feel it easier. In this case, I'm color picking from the reference because I need it to be more precise, but you can guess the color if you're confident enough. I'm not. And I like to start rendering the skin because it's more fun. When you render the skin, it already looks like it could be a finished illustration even if everything else is still base color. Most times I use pink to render the skin, either on a multiply layer on top with a baby pink color, or on the same layer taking the skin tone and shifting the hue to the reds and making it darker. I like to use a watercolor brush that I downloaded from the assets store on Clip Studio to render the skin and make it smoother, but sometimes when I want texture, I add the color with a chalk brush. After the skin, I move on to the hair. It's my favorite part. I go from dark to light. The lighter the color, the smaller my brush, because it means I'm doing details. I use a combination of the chalk and the pencil brush. I bring some of the darkness back with a pencil brush. I don't like drawing individual strands, so I make these sort of diamond shapes. Her hair is wavy, so we have distorted diamond shapes. I think it looks cute, so I do it this way. Sometimes I add more light reflections after this. It's something you have to see. I'm sorry about my screen recording, it's kind of frozen at times, but well. Anyways, I don't really have a particular order in which I do things after these 2 things, skin and hair, so it really depends on my mood. I started by the blush, which I changed the color of because I wasn't satisfied. And I also completely erased the shoes and made them again because the shapes were so weird. They have these little butterflies and they looked wonky. I locked the sketch layer so I could change the color of the lines. For example, on the trousers, I made the lines lilac as well, so they blended in more nicely, a bit like a lineless style without being lineless exactly. And in some parts, like the shoes, I completely got rid of the lines. They just distracted from the shapes and it didn't look nice. I'm really loving this chalk brush, so I'm using it for basically everything. I decided to make a brush to lay down the pattern of the fabric, and I made about 5 lines in a darker purple and 5 lines in between in a lighter purple. We just need to make sure that it's on a separate layer because we're going to register as material later to make it into the brush tip. I tried using the musical notes brush that comes in Clip Studio, but it didn't really work out. So I used the squiggly line brush. I don't know if that's a word. After you register the material as a brush tip under Object, Register Material, you can set it as the brush tip of whichever brush you want. But it's easier if you take a brush that it's already similar to what you want to achieve. You can always change the properties later, but it's easier this way. And in this case, it turned out just fine without modifying anything, so I just left it like that. I'm sorry for my English, it's not my native language, but I'm trying to practice, so sorry. Instead of making a brush, I could have made a pattern, but that's when I'm being lazy, because it honestly looks so much better with a brush. Because with a brush, you can follow the shapes of your illustration and create volume, and it looks more defined without having to do much, just using the textures at your advantage, especially when you're working with lines or squares or structured stuff like that. If it's like a flower pattern, you can get away with it. Right now, I'm just rendering the sweater. I didn't really like how it was turning out, so I erased most of the lines and I redrew some of them. I also added buttons. So now I'm working on the back, just adding some dimension, some volume, and changing the lines as well, so they are the same color as the interior of the back. I made a layer on top of everything and set it to layer mode close so I could add some Chinese stuff. I don't really have a plan when I add the lighting. I just go with instinct, what looks good. Care about the placement if I'm working with a specific background or lighting scenario. I'm still learning about light and color. When I was done with the lights, I started making some doodles on the background to make it look like I tried more, because it's just a blank background. But I didn't really want it to distract from the clothing, because that was the point of this illustration. I also added a paper texture just to make it more, I guess, dynamic. All the garments featured in this video are from Mexican clothing brands, either independent designers or small stores that I found on Instagram. And they have really cute stuff, so that's what I used for the Instagram survey for my followers to choose from. I've done this several times now, like 4 times. And this is the result of the game. I think it looked pretty cute. I didn't think it would. I thought the colors would clash so bad, like that baby blue with the lilac and the orange and the green, like too much. But it wasn't. It's cute. Thank you for watching, and see you the next time. I'll try to be consistent this time.